जरा शंकराचार्य देखा है वो करिए। ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्ददातु। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्म विद्या संप्रदाय कर्तृभ्यो वंश ऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। सर्वोपप्लवरहितः प्रज्ञानघनः प्रत्यगर्थो ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि। ओम शांति शांति शांति। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शंकरं लोकशंकरं शंकरं शंकराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। Mantra number 12. These three mantras we will just chant. Andham tamah pravishanti, andham tamah pravishanti, ye sambhutimupasate, ye sambhutimupasate, tato bhuya ivate tamaha, ततो भूय इव ते तमः यऊ सम्भुत्यागुम्रताः यऊ सम्भुत्यागुम्रताः अन्धं तमः प्रविशन्ति ये असम्भूतिमुपासते अन्धं तमः प्रविशन्ति ये असम्भूतिमुपासते ततो भूय इव ते तमः तत्यऊ सम्भुत्यागुम्रताः ततो भूय इव ते तमः यऊ सम्भुत्यागुम्रताः अन्यदेवाहु सम्भवात् अन्यदेवाहु सम्भवात् अन्यदाहुरसम्भवात् अन्यदाहुरसम्भवात् इति शुश्रुमधीराणाम् येनस्तद्व्याचचक्षिरे येनस्तद्विचचक्षिरे अन्यदेवाहु संभवात् अन्यदाहु असंभवात् अन्यदेवाहु संभवात् अन्यदाहुरसंभवात् इति शुश्रुमधीराणां येनस्तद्विचचक्षिरे इति शुश्रुमधीराणां येनस्तद्विचचक्षिरे संभूतिं च विनाशं च संभूतिं च विनाशं च यस्तद्वेदो भयगुंसः यस्तद्वेदो भयगुंसः विनाशेन मृत्युं तीर्त्वा विनाशेन मृत्युं तीर्त्वा संभुत्यामृतमश्नुते संभुत्यामृतमश्नुते संभूतिं च विनाशं च यस्तद्वेदो गुंसः यस्तद्वेदो भयगुंसः संभूतिं च विनाशं च यस्तद्वेदो भयगुंसः विनाशेन मृत्युं तीर्त्वा संभुत्यामृतमश्नुते विनाशेन मृत्युं तीर्त्वा संभुत्यामृतमश्नुते. Last time we saw mantra number 13 when it is said Anyadahu sambhavat Anyadahu asambhavat. Anyad means Anyat phalam. There is a different result, karma phalam. When you do Sambhuti Upasana, you get different results. When you do Asambhuti Upasana, you get different. Sambhuti, we have seen that which is manifest, that which is with form, that which is limited, that which is born at a time, that which is subject to birth and death, samyak bhavati sambhavaha. So anything that is born, upasana, and brought from beginning from Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyagarbha means samashti sukshma sharirabhimani, the first manifestation of the total. This creation not being separate from the creator, we saw last time. In the very first mantra we saw. The creation is non-separate from the creator. In other words, creator himself or itself is manifesting as a creation. That means there is no creation. It is a manifestation in another form. Like my dream is a creation which is non-separate from me, the creator. In other words, I alone manifest as a dream world. That means there is no creation. It's just a manifestation. And anything that is manifestation is always apparent. It's not real. Ornament is a manifestation of a gold in a form. Real vastu is gold. Gold is that something which is always, was, is and will be with reference to the ornament. It is a form that the gold assumes, and therefore we give a name. So manifestation is nothing but name and form. So also this creation is name and form. Satyavastu is Ishvara and creation is non-separate. So the first total manifestation of the total. And for any creation, the first manifestation is always in the subtle form. Whether you make vegetables, the homemaker lady is cooking, is deciding to cook for the lunch, the whole thing is in the mind, in a subtle form. What should I do? Even an artist performs on the stage. The whole thing is in the mind. That is how do this, then they improvise or do that separate thing. But first manifestation is subtle. Even a building, the manifestation is there. Building manifestation is in the mind of architect. Architect has the whole vision and then he gives drawings, and then drawings also you cannot, you and I at least, laymen like us cannot understand. Then they give a model. There's some model of the something, they will make it cardboard or something, and they say, oh, this is how the building will look like. And then you will have a top, building top, bungalow, removable. You will remove the top and show you, this is your bedroom from the top. This is called satellite vision. This will be a bedroom, and this will be a drawing room, and this will be your kitchen, and this will be a store. And this, invariably, when these two sentences are spoken, this will be your kitchen and this will be your store, the lady of the house will say, so small, I want a bigger house, bigger kitchen, I wanted a bigger store. He says, ma'am, this is just a model. It is something 16 by 12 size is your kitchen. Oh, and she doesn't understand 16 by 12. Will it be like this room? She will ask, she will be sitting in the bedroom. The fellow will say, it will be bigger than that. Oh, then it's fine. As though she has to cook for 20 people. She has to cook only for 3.5 persons. Because husband doesn't take lunch in the morning, goes to office and takes in the office. She takes only half lunch, only evening, not 3.5, 2.5 cooking, but she wants big kitchen. Architect has in mind. First manifestation is subtle. That samasti, subtle expression, is called Hiranyagarbha in Shastra. Or you may say Brahmaji. Brahmaji comes. The whole thing is in the Brahmaji's consort is Saraswati. Wife is Saraswati. Because the subtle manifestation and the first manifestation is always in the form of knowledge. There is no other manifestation. Architect has those whole thing in his mind in the form of lady of the home has in mind in the form of knowledge, what to cook. Even when they go to buy, like in the Western world, generally you don't have interior designer, they buy on their own. Even when they are buying something, that is in mind. I want this type of curtain. I want this type of bedroom. I mean, this type of dining table. I want this type of kitchen cabinet, etc., etc. Is there. So Brahmaji's wife is Saraswati. The creator, the first creator power is knowledge. Saraswati means all knowledge. She symbolizes all knowledge. It is not literally their husband and wife. Okay, it's a simile given to us to comprehend. She is a power, Shakti, to create, the knowledge Shakti. So, Anyadevahu Sambhavat. Sambhuti means effect. The first manifestation, when the phalam, the result of the upasana of Hiranyagarbha. Now I will use the word. When someone meditates on Hiranyagarbha, the phalam is Anyate. It is a different phalam. What is phalam? It is mentioned in Shastra. When you do Hiranyagarbha upasana, it is very difficult in a way. It requires a tremendous concentration and commitment. But that upasana, Hiranyagarbha is all knowledge, all power, creator. You become almost all knowledgeable, almost all power. Your Gnana Shakti, Icha Shakti, it grows to the level, I can use the word inhuman strength in terms of knowledge, And it is mentioned in Yoga Shastra also, and other Vedas also. By Hiranyagarbha Upasana, you get all these siddhis, accomplishments. Anima, Garima, Lagima, Mahima, like those Ashta, we chant Hanuman Chalisa and we say Ashta Siddhi Nava Nidhi Ke Data Asavra Din Janaki Mata. So Hanumanji was blessed by Janaki. May you have Ashta Siddhi, all eightfold powers, and Navanidhi, ninefold riches. No, you don't have power. You will be giver of that. Ashta Siddhi Navanidhi Ke Data. Parvati, Sita Devi, Sita Mata blessed him by that Hanumanji has a power. If you worship Hanumanji, you can get those Ashtasiddhis. One of them, two of them, he manifests. We can understand. Example, when he was crossing the ocean through aerial route, then crossing the flying from Lanka to there, our Prime Minister said, Modi ji, that when we did the second surgical strike, so Pakistan was expecting, and now we have done Pulwama killing, they will strike back. So they had kept all radars and things like that. But we went so high, Jai Hanuman, and we sometimes said, like Hanumanji, you cannot catch him. So he said, Jai Sri Hanuman, he was told in a live interview. We decided Jai Hanuman, and our fighter went with Jai Hanuman and bombed them and came back. They taught them lesson and they came back. So coming back to this, says Hanumanji, while he was crossing, there was a Rakshasi, demon, who came across and she said, Surusa, I want to eat you. She opened the mouth. Hanumanji had a power to increase his size. He became double the size. The deal was, you enter in my mouth. You enter into my mouth. That was his deal. He said, okay, I'm entering. And he became double. I'm standing here. Come on, take me in. How can I come in? Then Hanumanji enhanced the size to double. She enhanced her face to double. It went on 4 or 5 times. So it was size raised to 5, 6. Okay? Not square or cube. It is raised to 5, 6 in mathematical language. And then suddenly Hanumanji became thumb size and entered her mouth and then jumped back. So the deal is over. I entered and I have come back. That is called Laghima. Become Lagu. No? Mahima, he become big. All Shaktis, extra power, the one gains by Hiranyagarbha. Anyadevahu Sambhavat. Many things are mentioned. Then he says, Anyadahuhu Asambhava. Asambhuti. Asambhava means Asambhuti. By doing upasana of Asambhuti, you get different phalam. What is a phalam? The phalam is Prakriti Laya. Asambhav means that which is not born. Two things are unborn. One is Ishvara and second is Maya. So you are doing Asambhuti Upasana, Maya Upasana, Prakriti Upasana, then you raise to Prakriti. Unmanifest state. What do I get by unmanifest state? Then you may ask me, Swamiji, who would be meditating? I have an answer, 2 answers. Yes, today I don't see anybody meditating on Aprakriti. Certain upasanas has become lupta. They have disappeared because the person pursuing those upasanas are not so available. At least I have not come across. Maybe they're in Himalayas. I hear some stories, okay? Not stories, some people sharing their experiences. Some Mahatmas having a longevity of 300 years and 400, 2-3 people I know. They live in Himalayas and they themselves do upasanas and they have met with certain Mahatmas. They are on fingertips or single digit, maybe, or maybe more. They may not be coming in a public light, whatever it is. Today, that upasakas are far and few, very far and very few. So, Prakriti Laya, who does it? What do I get out of it? No? Getting is, and I said, Prakriti Laya means you gain unmanifest form. That's the ultimate thing. That's a seed form. What do I get out of it? That is Sukha. Okay? Sushupti is Sukha. Therefore, always welcome. Everywhere welcome. You're ready to sleep, more so in Vedanta class. That too, when technical discussions are going on. Fellow can sleep in a car, can sleep in a flight, and anywhere, anytime. So, but there is a sukham, but it is not gnana-janya swarupa sukham. There is a veil of ignorance. Just as there is a veil of ignorance in sleep. Just to explain this state, to explain this phalam, I am giving you this modern example. It is easy to explain in the modern context for me. You know, these people, there are so many meditators. They want to meditate on everything and anything. And there are people who talk of meditation all the time. Please understand. And they claim also the rishis were great meditators. Therefore, they had all this power. But then there is a very subtle difference in it, or major difference, subtle and major, which they just gloss over and people take it to be as it is. They were meditating, not abstract meditations, what they are talking today, they were doing great upasana. Rishayas were upasakas. And that Prakriti Laya state is like modern meditation when the meditator says, remove all your thoughts. Just be quiet. Just be still. Stop all kinds of movements, all things they talk. And sometimes they have for some momentary experience of being thoughtless, being still, and they feel happy. Or at least very far and few thoughts keep coming. You can say they have, and some people have an experience of blank mind. This you can compare in a way, though it is not a correct example. I'll tell you why. But compare in a way, this is like Prakriti Laya. And they feel, I had a very profound peace experience. I was in deep meditation. There was a deep, as though they are singing. Deep meditation, and that meditation is a deeper, very deep experience. This is deep and shallow, that is relative. We are talking of absolute peace. And we are talking of the peace that is not opposed to mental disturbances. They are trying to gain peace at the level of the mind. We are talking something beyond mind. We are just saying the mind is disturbed. Why are you disturbed? Some people, they tell me, that one person told me, Swamiji, I lost my dear and near one. And in spite of so much of Vedanta, I am not able to stop crying. I still feel the dukkha. Right? Why should you not? You should feel if the most near dear one spouse is lost, you must feel. Otherwise, I have doubt about your relationship for all these years. Nothing wrong in it feeling. Why should you create another guilt? In spite of Vedanta, I am feeling pain. It is like saying, in spite of this Vedanta study, I attended a course and studied 3-4 Upanishads, still I have a headache. you have a headache. Do you have a head? Yes, then you will have a headache. There may not be something in the head, that's okay. You may be missing some gray matters in the head. But fact that you have a head, let the head will have a headache. And watch it out. Just be Sakshi there and know it that the head has a headache. Body has a headache, and I am the Sakshi Chaitanya Satchidananda Atma. I don't have a headache, and I have a headache because it is an incidental headache. I happen to be in this body, and I'm building this body till my prarabdha last, and therefore I have a headache. Nothing wrong in it. Just as the head is anatma, mind is also anatma. Let them feel. It is natural for a mind or a head to feel headache. So it is natural for the mind to feel some dukkham. What's wrong in it? Don't create another guilt in yourself. It's okay. You feel it. Fine. It feels like weeping. Weep it out. It feels like wailing. Wail it out. Nothing wrong in it. What's wrong in it? But then it's incidental. It is not me. That's okay. So we are talking of meditation which is not opposed to disturbances of the mind. They are talking of meditation which is in opposition to mental dissipation. Therefore, they always want to quieten the mind. Make it thoughtless, no thinking, not doing anything, just sit quiet. Meditate, meditate, and meditate all the time. That means what? Vegetate, vegetate, and vegetate. The so-called meditators are vegetators. They are living a vegetative life. Bhagavan has given you good health, good mind, and use it and do what is to be done. Why you unnecessarily withdraw it and create a new complex within yourself and new problems today I didn't have a deep meditation. I had a shallow meditation. I have a doubt whether meditation was shallow or you are basically shallow. Don't understand this. This itself is a self-contradictory statement to say that I had deep meditation. What kind of meditation? Thoughtlessness meditation. I was thoughtless for half an hour. That itself is a thought. How did you become thoughtless? Because you started having a thought, let me be thoughtless, let me be thoughtless, let me be thoughtless. That means it is like putting a brake upon a car which is standing on a steep slope. On a steep slope, almost 40-degree slope, it is just standing. And you have put the bricks and then you have put the brakes and you're holding it. And then you say, oh, car is stationary. It is moving. There is a pressure inside not to move. To move on a slope is natural. To stop it, to keep it still, stationary on the slope is with efforts. It is unnatural if it is standing there. It is not that car has decided, I don't want to go down. And there is a beautiful view over here. I don't like down. That human can decide, not the car. It has to move. It's a machine. It is supposed to move. Similarly, it is natural for the mind to think, to feel, to judge, to analyze. Let it do that. And stopping it from doing this, that means you are putting it into unnecessary. If thoughtlessness was the goal, why should Bhagavan create a mind with thoughts? You should be born as a thoughtless person. And then if you are born as a thoughtless person, you cannot survive at home. You will be put in a special school. You can be thoughtless husband or wife to survive in the home. But thoughtless husband and wife can survive. But not a thoughtless child can survive in the home. The child has to be put into special school where mentally challenged children are kept over there. And he lightly say, forgetting. So that's not the point. That meditation itself is thought. And that coming back to the point that Prakriti Laya is like resolving the mind. Temporarily you are absorbed, and then there is a happiness. There is a total absence of unhappiness. And very thin, you can say figurative, this is a limitation of language. Very thin layer of ignorance, where you are close to Atma. And Atma being Ananda, you have Ananda. Like in the sleep, there is just a veil of ignorance, nothing else, no projections. Avaranam is there, Vikshepa not being there, sleep is always welcome because it is a happy experience. People have complaint, people have problem, people have resistance in waking. On Sunday, the lady of the home shouts at children and the husband, come on, wake up, it's 9 o'clock, 9, 10 o'clock, wake up, he shouts. The fellow will say, today also, let me sleep. That why you are waking me up today? So waking up, you may have resistance. But for sleep, nobody has resistance. Nobody says, oh, today also I have to sleep. My God, when this will stop? Today is Sunday, let me not sleep. So you may, mom may tell the children to sleep and they may resist if they are watching Netflix. And these are all modern marijuana and drugs that you get hooked to it. After this mobile, somehow it came to my mind and I said in some group of people, જેટલી વાર એને મોબાઈલની સામું જોયું હશે ને એટલે એની ઘરવાળી સામું નહીં જોયું. As many times the fellow has looked into the mobile, even 1/10 of the time he would not have looked into the eyes or the face of his spouse or her spouse. Either way, both are true. Having come home also, both are on mobile. I am sure Bhagavan, after 2-3 generations, will give extra powerful thumb. So you have to operate like this, all the thumb. And I don't do that. Sometimes, recently again I had I had a trip, 3-4 trips here and there after 3-4 days. And my mobile was fairly jammed, with these messages and all that. I said in the flight, let me finish it off, delete it off. It was a short flight, just 1 hour flight from here to Bombay. And I did it, my God, my nails, thumbs are paining because I'm not used to this so much, doing like this, this finger is paining, thumb is paining. So Bhagavan will improvise. Maybe thumb may be more powerful and maybe longer or shorter, God knows. One will make some change, that's for sure. Because the demand. Anyway, this Prakriti Laya Asambhuti Phala. And Shruti says, Iti Shushruma Urvesh Dhiranam Yenastat Vyacha Chakshire. This is what I have learned. Shushruma doesn't mean heard. This is what the teachings. Heard means this is the teachings that I received. We received from Dhir Purusha. Dhiras mean the wise people, knowledgeable people who have assimilated the knowledge. From them I have heard this, they taught us. Who are those? Nastada Vichachakshi. They, those who taught us. Naha means to us. Vichachakshile means they taught. In other words, this is what we have heard from our teachers. this particular vakya, sentence, implies that Vedas are kalati. It is beginningless. Because the beginning Rishi, the Rishi who taught Ishavasya Upanishad says, I have heard from my earlier teachers. So earlier means how much you don't know. Beginningless means you cannot pinpoint the beginning. You cannot show the Adi. Exactly like if you go to Gangotri and Yamunotri. When you go to Gangotri, then there is further up Gomukh. Gotri is not a place where Gangaji originates. Gangotri is a place where King Bhagiratha did tapas to bring Gangaji from heaven to earth. And there is a further place called Gomukh, some 19 kilometers trek, very arduous trek, difficult for the city people in a way. So when you go there, I remember first time when I went about 35 years ago, whenever you see that picture, Gangotri, there is a face of the cow and Ganga coming out. Gangotri picture, Gangotri, Yamunotri cow. So I imagine there will be cow face stone and Gangaji will be coming out. There I saw there is no cow and no face, okay? There is just a cave, huge cave. It's an iceberg. There is a cave, and from that cave, a small stream of water comes up. It's so cold, and everything all stones, boulders, different sizes, and you have to go 4 leg jumping like this, from one stone to another. You can't move straight. And maximum you can go closer to some 50, 60 meters, 70, 100 meters. Then you see that yes, the Gangaji is coming out of that cave. It is a huge mouth maybe about 40, 50 feet. Small streak of water. Naturally, human mind being what it is, you have a curiosity, what is inside? And you see it is coming from this side or that side or this side. You can't know. It's coming. Though we say Gangotri or Gomukh is a place where Gangaji originated, but origin is still further. Correct? It is still inside Himalayas. Nobody knows where from it comes. So also, Iti Shushruma Purvesha. You see only up to Gomukh. We see only up to this Kalpa or this time and this Upanishad and this Rishi is talking about it, but you don't see anything other than that. And Rishi has told, this is what I learned from my teachers. So, this particular mantra indicates that this tradition is beginningless, is beyond time. Just as Gangaji has no beginning, this tradition also has no Iti Shushruma Purvesham Yenastadvyaj Chakshire. Those acharyas, those gurus, those teachers who taught us, or those from those teachers from whom we learned, those teachers have said, okay, this is a different phalam. Sambhuti and asambhuti has different phalam. Okay. Now, having said this, the teacher concludes the section in the mantra number 14. Just we'll chat again the 14th mantra. Sambhutim cha vinasham cha, Sambhutim cha vinasham cha, Yastat vedo bhayagum saha, Yastat vedo bhayagum saha, Vinashena mrutyum tirtva, Vinashena mrutyum tirtva, Sambhutyamrutamashnude, Sambhutyamrutamashnude. Sambhutim cha vinasham cha yastat vedo bhayagum saha. Sambhutim cha vinasham cha yastat vedo bhayagum saha. Vinashena mrutyum tirtva sambhutyamrutamashnute. Vinashena mrutyum tirtva sambhutyamrutamashnute. So, sambhutim cha, asambhutim cha. Those who do upasana of both. Those who are doing upasana of sambhuti as well as asambhuti. They vinashena mrutyum tirtva. They will cross the death. They will go beyond death by sambhuti upasana and by asambhuti, through asambhuti upasana, they will gain immortality. Amrutatvam sambhut vinashena mrutyum tirtva sambhutya amrutam ashnute. Okay. Now, look at the mantra. This is, as I said earlier, these words have to be seen with an implied meaning, lakshyartha. It is not vachyartha is applicable. What is mrityu? In a way, if you literally translate both the second line, both the things mean the same. Vinashena mrityum tirtva sambhutya amrutam ashnute. So by vinasha, they will cross the death. Vinasha means by sambhuti, they will cross the death, and by asambhuti, they will gain immortality. You are crossing the death, it is immortal. When you are gaining immortality, you already crossed the death. Why should Shruti repeat? So, this has to be understood properly. And again, you cannot gain immortality by upasanas. That also we have seen the ahankara, as long as ahankara is, you cannot gain it. Let us understand what it means. What is mrityu? Mrityu is a symbol of dukkha. Janma mrityu. There is an idiom in our languages that the fellow, the mukta purusha, the free person, crosses birth and death. Goes beyond birth and death. Going beyond birth and death, literally also true, because he knows that Atma is unborn, Ajo Nitya Shashvatoyam Purana, etc. But the death and the birth are symbol of total helplessness, total agony, total pain. Lots of pain is there, not even at the death, before death also. Old age itself is painful. Therefore, nobody wants to grow old. Nowadays, in appearance also. People tell me whenever I go to Bhiksha or something, senior citizens who are 75 plus, and at least they are mobile in their home, and they say, Swamiji, bless me. Some of the ladies are very pushy, very controlling. They control their family, they control Swami also. I said, I have blessed you. No, bless me on my head. I said, okay, blessing. No, this way. She will hold the hand, bless me like this. And she will bend. The old lady hardly can sit. She cannot bend down to my feet and do Ardha Sashtanga Namaskar or Sashtanga. No Namaskar. She cannot bend. The tummy is big, the body is so shapeless and all that. So she will just bend down like this. Not even 90%, 30%, just like that. And she will hold me like this. Bless me like this. He will bless her like this. Then say, what did you bless? This is control, What did you bless? That is my jurisdiction. First of all, whether to bless you or not is my freedom. You are forcing me to bless you. And that also controlling me physically to bless like this. Then he said, "No, what did you bless?" I said, no, everything will be okay. No, that blessing I don't want. Okay, then don't take it. I don't want to give. Forget it. No. Then she said, I don't want that blessing. I said, okay, don't take it. Forget it now. Okay? No, I want some blessing. Okay, then what blessing? Typical Guju lady will say, Hey Bhagavan, avi navi upadi levu mana karchu. Please bless me that Bhagavan may take away as I am now. Means what? I don't want any further helplessness. I don't want any further pain. And she is 90 plus kg. And Bhagavan should take away, like in a Gujarati, upade. Bhagavan may take me away. Then I feel like telling Mama, please do some fasting and dieting. Otherwise, Bhagavan will have problem in back in L4 and L5. And poor fellow will have to have a belt. And he may have to have some bed rest for 2 months. And what will happen to this dunya when Bhagavan is doing better? And the blessings. Nobody wants to become paralyzed. Nobody wants to depend on others. That dependency, that helplessness is death. Helplessness alone causes anxiety. Helplessness alone causes stress. Stress is always born out of sense of helplessness. In the anxiety causes stress. And anxiety is caused by uncertainty about the desired result. And I'm too uncertain whether will I gain this or not. There is an anxiety. Some people are by nature anxiety. they are so anxious that they've spread anxiety all. What will happen? This is not happen. That anxiety is workaholic. So much of programming by parents have destroyed some children. Childhood, they kept on demanding, do this, don't do this, you have to do that, you have to do that. So there is a conditioning programming that I have to do. That was to be done when you were at home, your parental home. Now you are at your husband's house, your home. You don't need to do certain things. Program is so strong, anxiety. This much work is to be done, so much anxiety. And helplessness because I don't have time. These fellows are by nature anxiety. Even if they have time, you will find these fellows, whether this guy is by nature anxiety or not, take him to airport. We have to reach 2 hours earlier. Rajkot airport, where the plane is taking off, you can jump and catch the wheels and go to Bombay. It is such a small airport, and everybody knows. I had done this quite a time when I had to just go for a day or two or something. I just carry handbag, my computer, and come and go back. So even if I'm going to Delhi, so I see it's coming. I drive back early morning. 10, 15 minutes, I'm at the airport. By the time passengers have been offloaded, new have started, I'm in a queue. Forget it, yeah. Going 2 hours early in this airport. So anxiety by nature. And anxiety caused by situation. In both cases, uncertainty. One objective uncertainty, situation, possibility. Another imagined uncertainty. What will happen in case it may go wrong, like that. You miss it, then miss it, forget it here. You will catch another flight. But anxiety is out of uncertainty about the desired result. Or any kind of uncertainty causes anxiety. And that is uncertainty makes you feel helpless. That helplessness is a cause of stress and pain and dukkha. So, mrityu here means dukkha. Physical dukkham and psychological dukkham also. And this is important thing to know, or especially some grihasthas. Shastra says, what is mrityu? What do we call it as a mrityu here? You know, absence of Aishwarya, absence of resources. You are living in a samsara. You have to fulfill certain obligations, fulfill certain duties, and you need resources either in terms of money or in terms of position or in terms of power. That causes lots and lots and lots of dukkha. When you don't have enough resources. That is dukkha. Another dukkham is adharma. Person living a life committed to adharma. Lifestyle which is habitually the person keeps cutting corners. Or maybe for some particular value of money, I need so much money, I must have this much. And then that fellow keeps cutting corner because of money. Or urge for power. I want power. There is so much strong desire for power, and the fellow cuts corner. Do something improper, lie, and all kinds of what we in India call politics, doing politics, as though it is something to be done. That is naraka. So, vinashena mrityum tirtva. Here, sambhuti is called as vinasha. Okay? Vinasha, why? I told you. Sambhuti means name and form. Sambhuti means manifestation. Sambhuti means expression. Sambhuti means limitations. That means that one day which is born, which is manifested, which is a form, one day it will come to end. So it is a vinasha dharmi. It is of the nature of coming to an end, perish. That itself is vastu is referred by dharma. It's a quality. Maybe like this mobile is also vinasha, subject to destruction. One day it will not function. None of the functions will work, all these things. And you may say it has become corrupt or whatever word, but it's a perishable. Even the building is perishable. Car is perishable. But all of them can be called as vinasha. Vinasha means that which is perishable. This vinasha means destruction, but that which is subject to destruction is also called as destruction per se. So, vinashena mrityum tirtva. So, vinasha means sambhuti, hiranyagarbha. So, when you do hiranyagarbha upasana, you get Aishwarya. And one more thing I forgot to tell you, mrityu, three things. Lack of resources is mrityu. Lifestyle of adharma is mrityu. And certain habitual mental tendencies is also krodha, jealousy. Anger is a habit. Listen. Once or twice you become angry, then you form a habit. Angry person is always unhappy with himself or herself in a given situation. यानी ना गुजराती में बड़ेलो जीव, जला हुआ जीव, जलता रहता है, दूसरों को जलाता है. The fellow is burning and burns others. This is all mrityu. By Hiranyagarbha upasana, you gain mastery. It gives you shama and dama. You gain mastery over your mind, whereby it becomes free from such habitual thinking. That kind of thought pattern. Those thought patterns which causes anger, those thought pattern which causes anxiety, those thought patterns which causes fear in you, insecurity in you, that is called crossing over. Okay? So the phalam in the previous mantra it was said, Anya Devahu Sambhava. So Sambhuti Upasana can give you these all kinds of phalam. While discussing the last mantra, I said it gives you phalam that you go to Hiranyagarbha. You gain Anima, Garima, Lagima. This Aishwaryam. Anima means you have all the riches. So that person, the dukkham of a lack of resources is removed. But at the same time, that person lives a righteous life. That person is relatively free from habitual, not in a larger way, not only relative, habitual reactions, reactive thinking of the mind. The person becomes free. Sambhutya mrityu tiyatva. Sambhuti upasana, this person will crosses the death. Okay? And this when then he says, what does it say? Then he says, Sambhutya mritamashnuti. Here, because of the grammar rule, please listen carefully and see the mantra. Second line of mantra, Vinashena mrityum tirtva asambhutya mritamashnuti. Sambhuti means asambhuti. Through asambhuti, he will gain freedom from death. Okay? He will gain amrutatvam. What is amrutatvam? Immortality is relative immortality. Going to Hiranyagarbha Loka or going to Prakriti Laya, it is for millions and millions of years. Therefore, it is called immortality, relatively. Compared to our time frame, time scale, it is so large that you say it is almost infinite. But almost infinite is not infinite. That's what shows the limitations of our mind to comprehend the number. Therefore, you say almost infinite, but it is not infinite. So, amrutam ashnute, relatively the person gains immortality. And then there is a change in terms of topic change in the mantra section. The new section begins. We shall study that tomorrow. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om.